Hi, I'm Jim Mintert from the Purdue for Commercial Agriculture. And joining me today is David Widmar, who's a senior research associate in the Center for Commercial Agriculture. And we want to discuss with you just a little bit about the Ag Economy Barometer that we have partnered with the CME group on. So we want to give you a few details about the barometer, tell you how it's put together, and share a few details about how you might think about using it going forward. So with that, David, let's kind of kick it off. It's really based on a survey of producers. Each month we survey 400 producers around the United States. The survey respondents have actually been stratified in a way that they're really representative of U.S. agriculture. We really tied it back to the Census of Agriculture. So we've got it according to the pie chart there on the screen. You can see that about 53% of the respondents come from the corn and soybean sector, 14% produce wheat, 3% cotton, 19% produce beef, hogs about 6%, and dairy producers represent about 5% of the respondents. And so we keep that representative each month. They are different producers each month, but they represent those production categories each month. So that's unique. We're not aware of any other survey of agriculture producers in the nation that attempts to monitor what respondents think about the agricultural economy on a monthly basis.
And the real benefit to this is that if we get into, say, the spring season, we keep calling producers of corn and soybeans until we get our 53% respondents. We don't drop off and end up start calling cattle producers who might not be in the field or hog producers. We really make sure that every month our sample is representative of that U.S. Census of Agriculture.
That's right. So David, let's give them a few details about how the survey actually works.
Yeah, one of the important elements of this survey is checking in monthly and doing it over the phone. And we know that producers are busy, especially in the spring and in the fall seasons with planting and harvesting. So we needed to keep the survey short. We try really hard to keep the survey between 3 and 4 minutes in length. The second thing is that we do it by phone, and we ask the questions, and you'll see some samples here in a little bit. We try to keep the questions very friendly to phone responses. We're not asking them to recall numbers from 5 or 6 years ago based on their farm's financial performance. We use better than or worse as ways of quantifying their responses. From the survey, we have two primary outputs. The first one, of course, is the Ag Economy Barometer. The second level of output, the second output we get from this is the supporting questions. In addition to the economy barometer questions, we also ask producers about various things that are going on in their operation to help tell the story about how that barometer is changing from month to month.
So let's take a quick look at some of the questions. In fact, we have a set of 5 questions that we ask producers every single month.
Every month.
And use that to construct the barometer. So let's take a look at those real quickly.
Yeah, so here you can see that these are the first 5 questions that producers will answer when they get on the phone. 2 of these questions are very focused on the current situation that they're facing, how their farm and their view of the agriculture is today. And 3 of those questions have a future focus. These questions were, and this methodology has been carefully perfected by the University of Michigan in their Consumer Sentiment Survey. And so there's a lot of parallels between that survey and what we're trying to do here. As you can also see, our questions options for responses are better off, worse off, just about the same. So these are really simple and easy for producers to answer over the phone and in a quick, short time period.
So I want to emphasize again that within the survey, we have this base of 5 questions that we ask every single month. And then we have some additional questions which can vary somewhat from month to month and quarter to quarter. But the 5 questions we've outlined here every single month, those really form the basis of the Ag Economy Barometer. Let's look a little bit about how that actually turns into a barometer, how those responses turn into the Barometer Index value.
Right, so we look at the responses that they had to those first 5 questions, the ones that are asked every single month. And we've been collecting data since actually October 2015. We've been able to have a 6-month base period that we've collected responses, and all of the values that we show in the barometer, the index, is all relative to that base period, so that average over that first 6 months of the period. Everything is relative to that 100. So when we start thinking about and interpreting the value of the Ag Economy Barometer, what does a value of, say, 101 or 102 mean? Well, if the barometer goes up from the previous month, the general sentiment among producers has improved. If it was to go down, it would be a degradation of the sentiment. Anything time a value is above 100, it tells us that sentiment is greater than it was during the base period. And anytime below 100 means that sentiment is below the base period average. So hopefully the sentiment's always above 100.
So if you think about it from a long-term standpoint, there's really two ways of looking at the index. One is to look at those month-to-month changes, and the other one is to always think about it relative to the base period, which will become a little more important as time goes on.
Exactly, yeah. So we're going to always talk about the responses relative to the previous months and, of course, that base period.
Let's take a quick look at some of the other topics that we explore with our additional questions that we pose to producers on those phone surveys.
Right. These questions are supportive, and they rotate around throughout the year. If something comes up that's kind of a shock to the sector, we'll add those questions in as well. But these questions really help us tell the story about why the economy barometer has been changing. Commodity prices, farm financial performance, thoughts on the future of farmland values and farmland prices, risk management, marketing activities, and general macroeconomy conditions such as interest rate.
So for example, David, just think about it a little bit. We ask people about corn prices, soybean prices, cotton prices, and get a perspective about what they think those prices are likely to do over the next 12 months. And that feeds back into other information that we collect. It helps us understand why that ag economy barometer is going up or down and what it's really showing us.
That's a great example. In fact, we use the same methodology as we did with the 5 questions we showed you earlier. So the question would be structured like, what do you feel the price of corn will be 12 months from now? Higher, lower, or about the same? So we're really able to ask them that question at a high level and get a good, quick response and kind of an easy format for producers to answer.
Yeah, and once again, the key to the survey is the fact that it's relatively short. That helps us get a pretty good response rate. Make sure that we do, in fact, have a representative sample each month. So that's been one of the keys going forward. So we're excited about the Ag Economy Barometer, and we're pleased to be able to partner with the CME group on this great project. If you have some questions about the barometer, we've got an email address on the screen. You can send us emails, and we'll respond to those and look forward to interacting with you that way, and look forward to you accessing the Ag Economy Barometer on our website.
Yeah, lots of resources out on the website. We'll be updating the results of this monthly, and we're going to be hosting a quarterly webinar to discuss the results as we move forward. So we're definitely excited about the project, and we hope you tune in for a long time to keep up to date.
Thanks for joining us today.